What's up, fam? It's Jay Lobos coming back to another episode, and I wanted to talk today about business credit cards. How to obtain one, obviously, is a great way on how to separate personal from business transactions, especially for you out there, you business, you entrepreneurs, business owners, people who are obviously looking to establish credit for their business. I'm going to give you guys a few quick tips on ways on how to do that and obviously be able or get to the point of obviously having a business credit card. Obviously, I've been able to establish a few. One of my favorites, which I don't have here with me, I just obviously off the whim, is my Chase business credit card. It comes with a lot of awesome benefits, a lot of cashback, rewards type bonuses, which could be really beneficial with obviously with you know, the budget stuff, the COVID-19, obviously businesses being closed down. And things we can literally do, a little bit of flexibility when it comes to resources and finances, obviously having a business credit card. So for you guys out there checking out the channel for the first time, consider liking, subscribing, and let's share this. Obviously, it's really fruitful information. So if you have out there a friend that's obviously looking to get into business or has a business, he might obviously take advantage of this video. So let's go ahead and dive into that. So business credit card. Obviously, when it comes to business credit, first off, it's really different than personal. You obviously have the FICO platform, which is the 5 tiers on how to establish credit. But on the business, the difference is, first off, there's no rule and regulation such as the Fair Credit Reporting Act that demands that the information that you provide to creditors, the creditors have to forward that information to all 3 bureaus, Equifax, Engineering, Experian. Since that rule doesn't really apply on the business, the only way to establish business credit to eventually have either a business line of credit or a business credit card or a business loan is by you proactively taking the steps to do so. The number one step, first off, guys, check out Duns & Bradstreet. Duns & Bradstreet is actually one of the biggest holders. I think they have over 80 million business profiles. From there, it's Equifax Business and Experian Business. There's other smaller ones that actually archive information, but those are actually one of the big 3. Just like in Equifax and Engineering Experian, we have Duns & Bradstreet, Experian Business, and Equifax Business. So what's really interesting about Duns & Bradstreet, they offer what's called the Duns number. This Duns number is a number that will eventually substitute your social security number. A lot of people kind of think that when you apply for a business credit card, I'm supposed to give my social, and then you have a mix-up. And again, too, if on the personal you're looking to acquire a home and you've never established your business credit properly, then you're going to have some business obligations on your personal, which could hold a specific loan down because of the debt to income ratios and so on and so forth. So the ideal thing here is to create a separate profile from the business than the personal, so that personal is personal, business is business. Again, too, for accounting purposes, is always best to have a business credit card that has the same tax ID, so that when your taxes at the end of the year, it's very easy for your accountant, and it's very easy to be held more accountable to an extent, being able to know what's personal and what's business when it comes to expenses. So what's one of the first things that I suggest for you guys to go out there and get? What's called the Duns number. The Duns number basically is the same amount of numbers that your social security. First off, when you go ahead and apply for something, and again, there's different ways. I'm going to do multiple videos on this. I'm going to try to keep this one not as long as others, but basically the Duns number should replace your social. So very simple, and it's actually it's free. You can apply for it, you'll get it. What happens is that since the rules don't apply the way they apply on the personal side, how are you supposed to get information into that number? And that's the tricky part when it comes to establishing business credit. So one of the best ways to establish business credit, you have to crawl before you're able to run. Start off with smaller accounts. Obviously, we want to get to the business lines of credits, we want to get to the business loans, but initially, if we don't have, again, there's different rules and regulations when it comes to obtaining these type of loans. Maybe a 2-year history of a business. You're going to have bank statements. You're going to have some sort of collateral. So before you get to that, let's start off with the foundation. Net 30 accounts, net 60s, net 90s, meaning term accounts such as, I know, Amazon, Quills. There's different creditors that offer you a net 30 account, such as Staples Business. There's different creditors out there. And again, if you obviously have any questions, feel free to contact me. I would love to go ahead and provide. Again, I used to do business credit. I used to work for Bank of America as a business banker. But again, our bread and butter is personal credit repair. Nevertheless, I think this is really informational. So nevertheless, going back to, so we have a net 30 account. So when you establish an account, especially with a vendor, before you go ahead and apply for these type of accounts, for these net 30 accounts or net 60s, obviously there's an application process. By then you should have already gotten your DUNS number, and you should provide this information in substitution of your social, because now that information is going to get filtered to the bureaus, in this particular case to Duns and Bradstreet, and you should create what's called the Paydex Score. So instead of a FICO score, it's a Paydex Score. It works a little bit different. It goes from a 0 to 100 instead of a 300 to an 850 on a FICO. As a matter of fact, if you look at a Paydex Score, which is a number, which is it's approximately an 80. An 80 is an equivalent of approximately a 720 or a 680 good credit type stuff. Anything above an 80 is considered good business credit. Obviously, again, it's really different than personal, because it's a little bit more simplistic when it comes to the how could I build that score? Well, it's pretty simple. It's based on your payment history, which is beautiful. Instead of having all these weird 5 different areas and a combination of things, the good thing is that if you make payments on time, your scores, they actually increase a little bit. But when you make payments ahead of time, they go up a little bit higher. When you miss a payment, your scores drop. But if you recover and next month you make the payment on time or ahead of time, then all of a sudden you regain that again. So in a sense, it's a little bit more simplistic than on the personal. It's not as complicated, but nevertheless, the first thing is a DUNS number. Second off, start off with net 30s, net 60s, net 90 accounts, or preferably a secure business credit card. And again, through the application process, you should be providing that DUNS number, building that information. Because what happens is, on the personal, under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, if you apply somewhere, if you go to a bank, Bank of America, Chase, or Wells Fargo, or Macy's, they obviously ask you preliminary information. And what happens is, check out Duns and Bradstreet. They have a whole portfolio type stuff that you're going to have to create. You're going to have to turn in how much money you make. You're going to have to turn in, obviously, business aspect of it. They're going to look into how many employees, how long you've been in business, what type of business is it, what type of revenues, what type of liabilities, assets, profits, all of these things that normally, if it would have been on the personal, you walk into a store or you walk into a bank, they're asking you your income. They're asking you if you rent, do you own, or you're a resident or a citizen, how much do you make, stuff like that. But obviously that rule, which is the Fair Credit Reporting Act, obligates that creditor to forward this information to all 3 agencies, creating a profile, creating you a FICO score. But that doesn't happen on the business. You have to do this proactively. There's many ways on doing it. There's other net 30 accounts. There's a bunch of them. Quills. I have a bunch of information that I can share with you guys. But nevertheless, those are one of the few key steps. After you establish that secure credit card, there's creditors out there that would provide you that. Then you could also you would be eligible. And again, to run your credit report, it's a little expensive. If you look at Experian Business, Equifax Business, they'll charge you like $180 to run your report. Again, it's not necessary unless you've already created the foundation, unless you've already set certain accounts. Again, through this DUNS number, it's in your best interest for you to forward information as to the utility bills that you're paying for the business. Information on your expenses, because now you're creating this profile. You have a real foundation. You have a real organization. You have a business. And depending on how much revenue also determines of how much credit you're eligible for. Obviously, we want to get to that line of credit, the business loans. But before we get there, we have to talk about credit cards. So once you've gone through the net 30 accounts, through a secure credit card, you could basically walk into, and I also have a link for a secure credit card for a business one you guys can go ahead and apply for. Then you're going to be eligible for different credit cards, such as this unsecured from Capital One. I know Wells Fargo offers them. There's one that's actually BBVA. I know First National Bank. They offer unsecured business credit cards. Again, there's big banks, Bank of America, Chase. They also offer these products. but they might be a little bit more tight with regards to the guidelines. But nevertheless, guys, I hope this information was helpful. Until the next time, thank you so much for the love and support. Like, comment, share, and until the next time, guys, thank you so much. Be safe out there. Take care.